And we are live. What's going on, good people? This is KDO back with the Reconstruction Project, and I'm joined by my today co-host, Mr. Ghost, and Mr. Chaos, that is the mic. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to do a reaction video to a Kevin Samuels video, and then we're going to have an open discussion. And I'm going to leave a link in the chat for anybody who wants to join the panel. You can come in and join the panel. You can have a discussion, but we're not going to come on here and we're not going to be fussing. We're not going to be arguing. That's not this type of party. If you come into the chat, if you come into the podcast, you're going to be respectful. You're not going to overtalk anybody. We can have an open discussion and we're not going to take personal shots. Period. So that being said, do you guys got anything y'all want to say before we get started watching this video?
Nah, let it rip. Let's get it.
This is my first time seeing this particular video. This is my first time seeing this particular video all the way through. So my reaction is going to be just raw. So, all right, let me pull it up. And I think this is it right here.
Are black women our...
All right. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
Go. I'm going to pause it throughout, y'all, okay?
All right.
Yeah.
We can't make a demand. We can't even ask you to smile. But you want us to protect you. Are you all women? No. What do you think? What do you say? No. Before you answer this question, by the way you see the ethnic image of black women acting towards black men, are black women our women? Not aspirationally, by the results, by what you see.
Not aspirationally, by what I see. Not aspirationally. I feel like yes, we definitely
What y'all think about that?
She's already skipping the question to me. Like, we're not asking you how you feel, is what is actually there, is what the question is. But that's just me.
It was a very based off what he was saying, based off the evidence at hand and the way black women present themselves to black men. Are black women our women? And she started talking about I feel. And I think you said it right, P. Dojan, that she's already talking about what she feels and not actually what is actually the question that's being asked of her. And women do that a lot. They do that a lot. That's why I think that's why Kevin prefaces with not aspirational, but what's the actual evidence? Because aspirational basically means what you are hoping for something to be in your, you know what I mean? So, but let's keep going.
See, I asked you what you see and you went to what you feel. Ma'am, are you going to actually tell me by what you see, black women act like they belong to black men?
We need a lot of mentoring. And so
What you call that, Alexander? What you call that? Him and
Han, my friend. Him and
Han. She do not want to answer the question.
She don't want to say it because it's not going to be pretty.
What'd you say, big bro?
It's not going to be pretty.
It's the truth.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Kevin Samuels saying the truth.
Right. He's asking her to acknowledge what
she don't want to answer that question.
She don't know it. She does not want to answer it. She does not want to answer. But I'm gonna keep going.
No. See, you already starting to beatbox and see subjective variable. They don't want to call. They don't want to hold sister to the task, so they're gonna start breakdancing. Yes or no, man? You're a professional, right? A healthcare professional, right?
I am.
But
But
answer the question as a professional. Yes or no?
do
Are
our
black
women
women-
look like?
You heard the question 3 times. Are black women?
I'm gonna say
He's getting annoyed.
See?
that's tough. That's tough because
Let me stop it for a second. This is why, see, this when people say, because I've seen plenty of Kevin Samuels videos, and I've been knowing who Kevin Samuels was for a while before he got hot. But which, for me, I think him getting hot is a godsend. I think these conversations and women's nature and what women think of the delusional mindset that our women have needs to be exposed. And I think the only way that they're going to get the healing and to get correction, and which I think is a failure of elder women, but the only way they're going to do that is that they have to be told you're wrong. And I think that's something that women in our community are not used to hearing, the fact that you're wrong and what you're thinking is wrong. They're not used to hearing that, because this whole I feel culture, because that's what I feel like we're in. I feel like we're in our feel culture. And I heard I was watching, because actually Dr. T.S. Johnson, Green Gorilla, and BGS and Dr. Ron O'Neill, all those doctors sitting on this panel did a reaction to this very video. And I heard Dr. Gigi, Green Gorilla, he said something that really I hadn't even thought about. And he went and he referenced the Bible, and he was talking about how the Bible holds you accountable for the way that you feel. Because we keep talking about where it's my feelings, it's my truth. And the Bible says, no, your feelings are a lie. Like he went over, Green Gorilla says something about certain emotions that people feel. The Bible says they're wrong. Envy, jealous, lust. All of these things are emotions that the Bible tells us you have no business feeling like that. Get yourself together. Right? And we're in a culture, in a society right now that says it doesn't matter what the facts are. What matters is the truth. That's why we got all this confusion when it comes to people saying they believe that they're one gender and they're not. Because you're talking about how you feel, and we're not trying to hold people accountable for how you feel. And what I think what irritates Kevin Samuels so much is the fact that people say that he's being mean simply because he's being direct and straightforward. And he just asked a very direct question. When you ask someone a yes or no question, you can't get no more direct than that. All right. But when you ask somebody a yes or no question, multiple choice, and they tap dance and say, and they know the truth. They're just being intellectually disingenuous. Right. But let me keep going. Let's keep going.
the answer is yes. The answer is yes. We belong to you. Like y'all, yes, y'all are for us, and we are for you.
Black men. I want you to understand, black men. Hold on. Black men, I want you to understand. And you felt when you saw her struggling to try to get this lie out of her mouth. That is that is. You go back to you go back to the comment section. Go to the time and date stand. Go there and look at what the black men say. I know what I felt here.
Oh my God.
No, ma'am, because I know the question I'm asking, and the answer is I can objectively say no, you're not. And I can say it, but you don't want to admit what we can see. If you look at what the men are saying, they're saying no, but you're still trying to tell us, yeah, we are. And the men are like, well, what world are you seeing?
Almost had a little slip there.
Like, answer it as a professional, and you're still gonna get to the point where, like, well, yeah. Then the men don't know what they're seeing.
Let me stop, Alice. Me and you talk about that very often. How we'll tell someone, hey, this is what you're doing to affect me, and they'll try to tell you, well, that's not what I'm doing. You're just taking that wrong, like as though we can't trust our tiny little eyes, Alexander.
Yeah. Like you don't see what's going on, it ain't been said.
Right.
It's like I used to date a girl, and she used to say like weird, offensive stuff. It's like, well, that's just my little pet name. Well, that's my just this. It means this when I say that. It's like, no, it don't. We're not gonna sit here and reinvent the English language so you can like say what you just want to say without me getting mad thinking that you're saying what you're actually saying. It doesn't work that way. Like, you call me this, it means this. We're in regard, it's universal. Off the top of the board, if you say certain words to people, it triggers, it means something. I'm not just gonna say just because it's your little pet name and you're making it cute, it's okay. That's like that same argument that black folks is having. Is like, all right, between ourselves and between me and you, we can say nigga all day. But like when someone outside of this circle or someone not looking like me and you says it, it's a problem. That's the same thing. So yeah.
Let's keep going.
So yes, we definitely belong to you, and we want to just improve those relationships. I feel like we just have a difficult.
You belong to us. You belong to us. That's what you're saying.
When he adjusted that tie, he finna check somebody.
And why would a black man ask a black woman to smile? Is she offended? You belong to us.
Now, I disagree with being offended, but I don't disagree that
why okay, offended, whatever. Why does she feel put upon? Why does she feel like it makes a demand of her? If it's just a smile, and understand, a black woman who's a femininity influencer asked her femininity group who wants to be married to black men to just smile at every black man, and she was savage for months. You know, this is common, man. If black women truly belong to black men, as you say they do, why do black women feel put upon by simply being asked to smile at black men? And here's the problem. If we can't have real conversations with our women, because I'm going to tell you something, man. Black men know you're lying. They know you're conflicted. Ma'am, look in the comment section. The black men know you're not being honest. I think black men want relationships with black women more than black women want relationships with black men. Because when asked this question, you're speaking.
Oh, let me stop. That's true. When he just said black men want relationships with black women more than black women want relationships with black men, that is 100% true. That is what black men, I've seen black men try to go to the end of the earth to make a marriage work, to make a relationship work, and they just cannot get cooperation from that woman. And I think by and large part, I think black men have gotten to a point to where they know it's not what I want, it's what I can't. It's not what I want, it's what I need. Like I can't get this out of you because you're unwilling to be honest. He just asked her. Basically, he's been on the same question for the last four minutes. Right. And the question he asked were, do you belong to us based off the evidence and what you see? Do black women belong to black men? And she struggled to answer the question. And then when she did answer, she lied. Right. And what he's saying is black men know that you're lying, because the fact of the matter is that most black men know black women in this country do not belong to us. Because when something belongs to you, it means that you have ownership over it. All right. It means you have rights to it. It means you can ask something of it and it's going to yield a result that is favorable for you. So I think black men in large part desire. That's why these brothers are going to Africa, and that's why these brothers are going to Brazil and all that. They marrying black women. They're just not marrying black women from this country. What that's telling in itself, it means they want to be married to an African woman. They just know that this variety of African woman is more difficult to get along with.
It's a bad batch. Yeah. I was listening. It brings to mind like all the stuff that's going on in the news. What's going on? Like, obviously that George Floyd case just went down and everything.
Right.
And the verdict came back. It should have been obvious. There shouldn't have been a need for it to be pushed out this long. Everybody's seen what happened.
Right.
We'll take it a step farther. Like, this is not that guy's first incident. And stuff. And with the other cop, there's also from damn near the same city or same state, same thing. Like, it's like these are like people that's had this job for like long periods of time, and they're actually in charge of training. So the new generation of police officers in this state get the same training from this guy who is a bad apple. So he makes other bad apples. So in essence, it's not just a few bad apples. It's like a bad apple machine or an orchard of bad apples. So you have to just burn that field down and start over from scratch. This is basically the same thing that's going on with most of, if not all, the black women. Like it's very hard to find a black woman that like you can talk to and have an honest conversation with without them thinking that you're just accusing them of this or you're putting them on the spot when you're basically just having an honest conversation. Like dudes can talk. It's like we were just sitting there talking about video games. And it's like, man, you are trash at this game and stuff. It's like, yeah, I know, and stuff, and we'll deal with that. But like you say that same thing to a woman about something that whether they know it's true or they know it's true. Everybody, I refuse to believe that you walk around living life and not know these things are true and not true about yourself. But you can't sit and have a conversation about the facts without them feeling just like you were saying, like about like asking someone to smile. Because like I've legit had that very same conversation. Like you look that way as a defense mechanism, so people won't talk to you. That's unnecessary. If you don't want people to talk to you, all you gotta do is say something. You ain't got to sit there and look like a angry yard gnome just so people don't approach you. I'm like, that in myself is crazy. Like they say that like it takes more muscles in your face to frown and look sad than it does to look happy. I believe that and whatnot. And I think I am very approachable, even though like I'm probably like the most dangerous person in the room at any given time. But like you can't tell by my demeanor, the way I carry myself, and the way I talk to people and stuff. I'm a very humble person. You won't know that like I'm damn near a trained ninja or whatever. Nobody knows that and stuff. But like all that stuff is unnecessary. And like, and I'm truthful and honest and stuff. And if I see or I feel or you give off something that clues me in that I'm acting or carrying myself a certain way that is either not true or counterproductive to the situation, then I adapt and I change it. Like, oh, my bad, I did not know. Let me do this because I can be honest or I can be unbiased and make that thing. Most black women, as you talk to, you can't do that. You can't talk about facts and stuff like that because you get like with this lady, she tries to side straddle hop the issue. Like, that's cool that you feel that way, that's what you think, but that's not what I'm asking. And now you just because I keep asking you the same thing because you see that I'm not gonna like be sidetracked by your skirting of the issue or your pretty words and stuff. You just say something to just cause, and then that right there it negates any honesty or any helpful dialogue that you can have.
Right. I think you're 100% correct, and I think that the problem. Hold on for a second. I think the problem.
There it goes.
Hold on. I'm looking at the comment section. It says Sheila said she really did bad batch. She said, "What do you mean that black men belong to black? What do you mean that black men belong to black women?" Well, Miss Sheila, how do I say this? Well, you got an Asian man and an Asian woman, and they're each other's counterparts. So when you're asking, do black men belong to black women? You're asking, okay, are you guys a pair? Because the only demographic of women that doesn't seem to think that she belongs as a pair with her man is African American black women, by and large part. Not all, but by and large part, that's the way they conduct themselves. When the Most High made man and woman, he made man and he took woman out of a man's ribs and he formed her up in the steed so that man wouldn't be alone. And so when you and the Bible says she belonged to that man. And so when we're asking the question of I guess Kevin is asking the question, do black men and women belong with each other? Do black women belong to black men? That's the question that he's asking. Okay, are you my counterpart? And y'all keep leaving the stream. Is something going on?
No, I was adjusting.
So it keep knocking me off. I don't know
Okay, I
what
was
that
just
is.
because I
It keep
can't.
knocking my signal.
When I'm
I have to
actually
keep
got the video pulled up, I can't hardly see it. But I think that's what's being said, Miss Sheila. That's what he means about black men belonging to black women. Is that are you my counterpart? I think in this conversation, he's just not talking about in marriage. I think he's talking about demographically. Like, are you? I mean, I don't think I can have said anything any different. Are you my other half? When he says the two go together. So the Asian man.
Are you the yin to my yang? That's basically what it is.
Exactly. Like, exactly. And our women nowadays conduct themselves as if that they don't need us and that they don't belong to us. So they go out searching and searching and searching and searching and searching. And then they come back realizing that, oh, snap, the only person that I have is the black man. And I think the conversation that Kevin is having, because black men are really what's happening. I'm going to say this. This is what's happening. Black men in this country. Okay, let me say this correctly. Intelligent and informed black men in this country are walking away from relationships with black women in this country for marriage. They're not seeking to marry black women. Either they're just wholesale, just removing themselves from marriage, or they're going to different countries or different races and marrying other demographics of women. They're not marrying black women. And black women, by and large part, are starting to feel the pinch because now, especially with America being such an integrated country, now she's having to compete for black men with other women.
Yeah.
Other demographics of women, and she's losing. And it's more evident in no more evident in the youth. You know, the younger generations are wholesale just rejecting their female counterpart. And I know because this is a conversation I've had to have with my sons and my nephews. I have a 9-year-old that doesn't like dealing with. I'm not talking about my 13-year-old. I'm talking about my 9-year-old doesn't like dealing with black girls at all. And I asked him why, and he says they're mean. So, in large part, what is happening is the African American men are just saying we're not participating in this situation anymore, and they're just wholesale walking away. And African American women are trying to get African American men to come back to the table, but they're not really trying to change the things that made African American men walk away in the first place. Man. So, and this is why Kevin Samuels is having certain conversations, like his the whole high value men thing. You know, I found it curious because if you know anything about finances, you know that only 10% of the population makes over $100,000, and only 2 or 3% of black men make that much. You know what I mean? And so you got all these women going after one demographic of man. And when Kevin Samuels be talking about the high value man, he's saying that a high value man is that you Friday, right?
Yeah, I did that so I can write. And on the comment section, it's not letting me write on the comment section.
Okay. So when you have, like I said, when you have that part, you know, and you have that from that standpoint, you have to understand that you have women in this country, Miss Sheila, they're living in a different completely space and time that is actually reality. You know what I'm saying? They have really exercising cognitive dissonance, and the conversation that Kevin Samuels is having is actually shedding light, and hopefully they can actually, some of them can actually wake up, because I'm telling you, it's hard pressing to get man to come back to the table. So let me keep playing the video. Let me go on with it. You ready, Dojan? Big bruh?
Yes, sir.
Big Mike, you there? Be quiet. All right, I'm gonna keep playing the video.
Aspirationally, men are saying, no, you're not ours. And they can see you struggling. But you're gonna find a way to rejigger this to make it make sense. And men are saying, you're not ours. We can't even ask you to smile at us.
Okay. So, brothers, we love you. Let me just tell you.
No,
just
no,
got
we do. Before we get to that, we need truth.
Okay.
Can you honestly say that greater than 50% of the adult Black females act and move as though they belong to Black men?
No, and I'm going to answer. Can I rebuttal to that?
Go ahead.
I don't feel like the majority necessarily act like they belong to any man, though. So it's not like we're ditching them.
But there's only one. But you can rebuttal that, man. Belong to one.
Yes.
See, that's subjective variable bullshit. That's not an answer, man. Black men don't want to hear that we don't belong, because you don't expect every man to protect you. When somebody's going upside your head, you ain't asking Brad, Lee, Ahmed, Enrique, protect us. You asking a Black man to protect you.
That's true.
You're right.
So we don't give a shit if you don't feel like you belong to anybody else. White women, do white women act like they belong to white men?
Yes.
Yes or no? Do Hispanic women act like they belong to Hispanic men?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do Asian women act like they belong to Asian men?
Definitely.
Do Middle Eastern women act like they belong to Middle Eastern men?
Yes.
Do Black women act like they belong to Black men?
By and large, no. But
the fact that you had to even put a modifier on there.
She had to put a modifier.
The reality.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Look. That's crazy, because she had to put a modifier on that. And when he asked her about other groups of women and groups of
just like that,
it was just rattling off. it was just rattling off, but she had to put a modifier on it. And to me, I would think that in your own head, as a woman, when you're saying that, and you have to put if you don't have to put a modifier on other groups of women acting like they belong to other groups of men, when you get to your group, you would be like, dang, like a revelation.
That light bulb didn't come up. Oh, damn, you got me.
God dang it, we got to do better. Like something, but it's like it's like you understand this, but you're still wanting to,
She's doubling down. It's like,
right.
All these other groups of people that he's talked about, you can say that and have an open, honest dialogue, because it's not on me, or it's not, I'm not talking about myself. It's not a true inward reflection of what's actually going on and what I'm doing and my part and my role. But when it becomes to you and you have to take ownership or accountability of what's going on, you don't want to do that.
Right.
Or you'll say something, i.e. the modifier, to lessen the blow or the impact of or your part or your responsibility in what's going on. Basically, you're failing. It's like, well, everybody failed. I didn't fail that much. Or I only missed it by this much.
And it's crazy is that even like that is not even the point. The point is that you're failing. And after you acknowledge that you're failing, then you say, how do I succeed? And it's like they don't, it's like it's like pulling teeth. Matter of fact, that sucker is like pulling teeth with like a pair of pliers. To get them to just admit that, okay, we're not doing good, we're not doing right. And like I said, I think a lot of Black men in this country have just said, you know what, you ain't
go this way.
I'm going here. You ain't even got it anymore. Like, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Just stay where you at. Because you think about the things that African American men have actually tolerated and actually dealt with just to stay with a woman. It's crazy. Like, and people act like these things are like one-offs. They act like these are aberrations, and they're not. They're not.
Everybody's got a butthead cousin, sister, mom, grandmother, aunt that are a constant reminder of what it is we do not want.
Right.
And everybody's like, no, that's not what it is. I don't that way. Like, even most of these women, you could ask them. You could ask your friend and give an honest answer about your friend, how your friend is.
Right.
Or like, how come you don't hook your friend up with nobody? Because my friend is such and such and such.
Right.
You really think your friend ain't saying that same stuff about you to somebody else?
Right. I had a conversation with a relative. She was like, you know, you need to hook me up with one of your friends. And she got mad with my response. I was like, I wouldn't do one of my friends like that.
Yeah, I
She's like,
said that very same thing to you about my sisters. Like, I wouldn't do you there. I wouldn't wish that on nobody.
and like,
like,
she
nah.
got mad. She's like, what's that supposed to mean? I'm like, it means it's like I don't.
Exactly
I'm looking
what I
at
said.
you. I don't have a romantic interest in you. You're a family member, and I'm looking at you, and I'm like, you're no good to nobody. Like, you really are no good to nobody. And like I said, they get so hard on men for not being high quality men. But why don't you just, okay, we come from an imperfect community. There were so many things that happened to African Americans in this society. I remember telling my brother this one time, man. We were talking about my mom, and I'm just like, do you realize mama quit school in like the 6th grade because she had to get a job and help the family out? Like things for black folks, like the more children you had, that means the more helping hands you have to bring income into the house back then. Yeah. And I'm like, so you can't even look at her and be like, she's somehow a failure because she did what she had to do to maintain. She got us this far. We have to take the baton and go even further. You know what I mean?
That race.
And that's exactly. And I think that our women have been told this Disney bull crap or this fairy tale that this man gonna come along, he gonna be like this and he gonna be like that. No, he's not. A lot of men are not gonna come along and be that way. They're gonna come along and they're gonna just have a willingness to work. You know what I'm saying? And you just got to be like, okay, well, this guy has a willingness to work, because that's really the standard. The standard is, do you have the desire? Can you work? Will you lead? Will you protect? That is the standard for men. But somehow the standard has been moved from being able to provide for your family to able to provide a certain lifestyle for your family. And I don't know where the hell they get off with this bullcrap at, because not everybody is able to provide you a Mercedes Benz or a Cadillac or a Lexus and all that. Dude might just be able to put you in a Hyundai Elantra, and that should be fine. You know what I'm saying? Y'all will get there. Like I told my niece and her husband, when they first got married, you know, I said, listen, let me give y'all some advice. I said, the first thing I said was, do not ever concern yourself with making a lot of money. Finance is going to come. As you guys get older, as you get wiser, all that stuff is going to fall in place. You need to focus on maintaining and building what got you here in the first place. And that's y'all love, respect, and admiration for one another. That other stuff is going to come. It's like when I tell artists who want to be a part of Raw Portraits, or when I tell artists that, because I had a guy asking me last night would I teach him art? And I told him, I said, I'm willing to teach as long as you're willing to learn. And he kept talking about drawing this, drawing that, drawing that. I'm looking at him, Alex, and you're a teacher. You teach martial arts, so you know. Yeah. I'm looking at it. I'm like, all that stuff is going to come along. Like I told him, I said, getting better at drawing comes along. It just happens. But you need to learn the basics. You need to learn foundational stuff. And we teach you foundational stuff. We can move from there, period. But let me keep playing the video, though. Let me keep going. All right, here we go.
There was no modifier ever before black people. No modifier. 100%. And see, that's 100%. The problem. And that's the problem, because it is going to come down to women checking women and getting you guys straight. We cannot fix you because you have no respect for us. You only respect each other. And if we can't rely on the educated of you and the intelligent of you and the learned of you to at least be honest, black men will sit back saying, who the fuck can we rely on? Honestly.
Yeah.
Because saying that men can't. Black men are just asking black women to be nice to us.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Just be nice to us. And they can't get that in mass on a regular basis. I don't know if you ladies really understand how bad it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then when you see a black girl get hit in the face with a skateboard, you want black men to check him.
P. Dozian. Oh, Dozian.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
Do you remember that situation? Did you hear what he just said?
Yeah.
Did you remember that situation? That dude took that skateboard and went upside that girl's head.
Vaguely.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with that, but he smacked her in the head. But Kevin Samuels was talking about y'all want men to check him, but there's such a disconnect between black men and black women. Let me keep going.
Because he shouldn't have hit her. There shouldn't be no violence. But then you ask yourself a question: why does this black man feel so detached from this black woman? Because they can feel it. You want black men to check him, and y'all won't be honest. And it takes me asking questions this way and that way, and before I can even kind of nail the jello on the wall, and it's still, well, do you want black men to do this when it comes to talking about our obligation to you? Do you want modifiers from us when it comes to you?
I don't know.
No.
Well,
you ask some tough questions.
Because it needs to be asked, because I should not have to ask the motherfucking questions. Becky ain't got to ask, Brad ain't got to ask it of Becky.
I can always tell when Kevin getting irritated because he'll start.
He start cursing. Yeah.
Start saying
I won't even say irritated. I think like the patience is wearing thin.
Right, the patience is wearing
thin.
It's
an obvious thing. It's like I'm the same way. I'll sugarcoat it for a little while, and then after so much, you just like, you know what? You're gonna get it raw and uncut, because obviously me being nice and trying to sound pretty and spare your feelings because it's the real deal ain't working. Or I was like, all right, you obviously don't want that, so here you go.
Mm-hmm.
I do it in my class, as you said earlier. I'm a teacher. I teach people how to fight. And I try to save you as much as possible. Look, man, I need you to put your hands up because you're leaving your face open. You're leaving your face open. Put your hands up. All right. Obviously, me telling you this and showing you how to do it is not working. I'm going to show you why you need to do the things that I'm instructing you to do. I punch you in your face. I punch you in your face. Or I let somebody else who is less skilled than me punch you in the face repeatedly when they want to. And I was like, all right, are we going to put our hands in front of our face now? Are we going to do what we're supposed to do now? All right, let's go.
I think, being a teacher myself, and from that aspect, like I told the guy last night, I'm like, I'll teach you as long as you're willing to be taught. And I don't feel like I should have to subdue you to give you information. I had this conversation with Sheila, my son. I said, your teacher is telling you something, hush, because my son is highly intelligent. So sometimes, he starts to feel that he knows more than the teacher. And it's something I have to bring him back down to, like, no, you don't. Like, I don't even care how much intelligence you're supposed to have. You ain't got the knowledge. Intellect is the ability to retain information. So you don't have that much information stored up in your mind that's going to rival your teachers. But I think that when you sit here trying to teach somebody from a standpoint of, what's going on, what's best, and they're trying to tell you that's not the case, it starts to get irritating, man. It really does. So you just have to let them learn a hard lesson. But I'm gonna keep the video going. We almost at the close of the video.
Lee doesn't have to ask it of Maylene. Enrique doesn't have to ask it of Marceau. Anu doesn't have to ask it of pick a Middle Eastern name. But Keith has to ask it of Keisha. Somebody got to ask it. I'll take the smoke. Thank you for at least trying to be honest, man. But this is where the fuck we are.
Yeah.
That's why I got upset and said no. When you go into the same old trope of black women do this because of we're mourning for our brothers, and I'm like, whoa. I know more black men who say, I ain't got to worry about the white man. I got to worry about this woman laying next to me. This is my oppressor. This is my abuser. This is the one that calls CPS and child support and the white man on me when I ain't doing what the hell she think I should be doing. This is what brings the white man into my house.
Oh, God.
Ask your brothers.
All right, that's about it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm looking at the comment section. I couldn't see your comment, Miss Sheila, when I was having a video up. She said, "We as women think we know everything. We don't want to be wrong or corrected." Uh, yeah, and I would say it's just worse with this generation of women. It's just like it's worse with this generation of women, man. When I first went through my divorce and got back on the market, I was like, dang. It's like,
like where I get the pick from?
I was like,
wow.
Shoot,
I really want to do
out of the fry pan into the fire. Snap. And it was just like, if you want to be a man that is just if you want to be a man that's just having sex all the time, this is the place to be at in America. But if you want to be a man that is actually trying to have a family and actually build something with a woman, it's hard pressed to find the ability. I don't know why Alice keep leaving out the stream and coming back in.
I'm trying to navigate through things. It's not working.
It's hard pressed to find a woman that you're going to be able to do that. But I want to touch on something that Kevin just said in the last part of that video, which was very telling. And one of the other reasons why, besides the attitude of our women and the disposition that they carry upon themselves, is knowing that it's a great risk to your future, anything that you work for, by entering into a marriage with somebody, period, in this country. But also, why would you enter into a marriage with somebody who's already showing you that they don't at a minimum don't hear you out?
They ain't trying to let you be the quarterback of that team. Like, no.
Want you to, you know, speaking of quarterbacks, I remember when Michael Vick had to be, in my opinion, like the most talented quarterback that I had ever laid eyes on. Right. But they used to put him in systems that didn't do well for his natural God-given ability. And they would critique him like he was a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning. I'm like, he's not them. Matter of fact, if you want to be truthful about it, he's better than them. But you're just not utilizing the fact that he is so far ahead of them when it comes to talent-wise, just raw talent. Now, when you're talking about the ability to read defenses and stuff like that, I don't think nobody's ever been as matched as Peyton Manning. But you're just talking about from an athletic, raw talent standpoint, Mike Vick, by hands down, was the best, right? And I see a lot of women that they come into these marriages with a preconceived notion of what a man is. All right. And a lot of it is completely off base. Okay. And then when they start getting the resistance from a man, like, no, that's not what we're doing, all of a sudden the man is oppressing them. But at the same time, you're riding him because you don't have the things that you may have wanted. That if you just move the hell out the way, or if he says, look, we running a West Coast offense, we're not doing spread, we run the West Coast. And you say, okay, what is my part in the West Coast system? Because that's actually supposed to be the mentality of wives. Okay, what is my part in this system that you got going on? They don't do that. But I just want to go back and real quick, and I'm gonna let you say something. I'm be quiet. When he talked about when most black men are saying, this is my oppressor, this is the one that's inviting the white man into my house, that is a real fear that I know about 90 to 95% of black men have when you're talking about marrying a black woman. It's crazy. They don't necessarily think about that when it comes to them marrying a white woman, but it's a real fear that they have when it comes to marrying a black woman, because they know that black woman is in bed. She's in bed with the government. Like, the government is her true husband, especially if she grew up in that system. She's more prone to revert back to that system, and she has no problem in putting you under the microscope, because that's exactly what it does. You talking about when you have to pay child support, man, look, I had them go into my account having to pay child support. I had a you know, Alice, you know, I separate my finances. So I had an account to where I just would put like $50 to $60 in there at a time, and that's when I would be on the road. I would just spend it like food, stuff like that. Anyway, I go to Hardee's and I was like, I'm gonna get me a thick burger. I'm gonna splurge today. I really don't eat big burgers like that. So I'm like, I'm gonna splurge today. I'm gonna get me a thick burger. So I went to get a thick burger, and that mug said my card was declined. So I went to the ATM machine and I checked it. I was like, I just put like $40 in here like 2 days ago, and I haven't used it. So I go to check my account, and that mug is at zero balance. So I called the bank, and they was like, well, it looks like somebody did a debit of your account. They had put a lien in your account. So I was like, who? It was child support. I'm like, child support? So I called them up, and I was like, did you guys go into my account and take my money out? And the dude was like, well, yeah, it seems like you owe got an arrears on your account. I was like, okay, but I pay the arrears. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole different story in itself. But the dude checked the account. He's like, oh, Mr. Griggs, I'm so sorry. You're not a candidate for that. We should have never have touched your account, all this and all that. But I'm like, what if I really needed that money though? Like that just happened to be my spending money. I'm like, what if I really needed that money to pay a bill and y'all went into my account? And I don't think women understand how they subject men. Matter of fact, Dojan, I don't even think it's the fact that they don't understand. I just think they don't really care.
I don't care. They ain't worried about it.
They just don't care. But this is the thing that you want men to come to the table and talk to you about when you're proving to men that you don't. And it's not these brothers that's out here that just arbitrarily land with women and leaving depositing their seed from one county to another that's actually dealing with this stuff. It's the men that don't supposed to be on child support. And really it's because the men won't come up under the thumb of the woman. She gets mad and she leverages the government against you. And to know that you're trying to build generational wealth, you're trying to, that money that you're sending to somebody else from your house every month, man, like I can go on about this, but that money that you're sending to somebody else from your house every month could be going into buying land, could be paying for land every month, could be a monthly payment on land every month. It could be going into a college account for the children. It could be doing all of those things, but instead it's going to support somebody else's household because the woman really is doing that so she don't have to get up and take care of her own self. Because make no mistake, I think they say 80-something% of divorces are filed by women.
Yep.
So
they are.
They know. And see, here's the thing: the market is always going to win. This is what I try to tell people. If the consumer is always going to dictate the market, okay? If men are the consumer and women are the product of the market, and you're showing me that this product has little value to me, then I just leave the product alone, right? And so that's what's happening because men have started to say, it's that pendulum. I used to tell people this all the time. A pendulum swings two ways. If it goes up to the right, it's going to have to swing back over to the left. You don't want to be when it's going to be worse when it swings back because it's going to swing back with more force. And right now, these brothers are saying, I'm out. I don't want nothing to do with this situation. I'm done. You guys, what you said earlier, Alex, is a bad batch. You know what I'm saying? You're genetically, something is wrong with you. But go ahead, Dozen. What you think?
I agree with you, man. I mean, you pretty much echoed everything I was going to say. So, like, I agree. Nobody wants to sign up for more stuff. Like, we'll put it into it. We won't even talk black men, black women. We'll talk like regular life. Would you want to work at a job where you have to do more, be there longer, and get less pay?
Nah.
Nobody wants to do that.
Right.
Like, there are people that I got at my job, there's like 20-year like apprentices and stuff. They don't want to finish going to school because with graduating comes more. Yeah, you get a bigger check, but you're expected to do more. You're expected to produce. You have to do more than what you've been doing. And it's like expected of you. Like, hey, you graduated now, so by the amount of school, the amount of time you've been here, you should be operating at this level.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're expecting of you. So if you're not operating at this level, we don't need you or we don't want you around. It is the same thing with men and women getting together. It's like no one wants to take on an unnecessary burden.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if I can't talk to you and get what I need from you, not even what I want. It's like, as long as I'm getting what I need from you, I can work with getting what I want later. Mm-hmm. It's like, I need A, B, and C. Anything after A, B, and C is good. But if I can't get the bare minimum, there's no point. There's no point. Right. There's no point in willingly suffering through some stuff, hoping that it will turn. It's not going to be like this forever, or it will eventually change and whatnot. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to sign up. And no man in their right mind that does not have to do something is going to do it. Like, if I don't got kids with you, I don't got a house with you, I don't got property with you, I'm not like in business with you or something like that, I have no reason to stay with you other than wanting to be with you.
Right.
So if you're not doing the things that make me want to continue to be with you, then I'm not going to be with you.
Right.
And that is the mindset of just about everybody, every walk of life. I'm not going to say I'm like most dudes. I think I'm pretty unique. But like, there are general needs and general things and wants and desires in life that everybody has across the board, regardless of if you're black, white, Hispanic, or other.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just certain things that like are expected in races, or it's stereotypical, but it's if it's true, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like most people like they know if they go to this race, they expect different things because culturally we are raised different.
Right.
White people are raised this way. Black people are raised this way. Spanish people are raised this way. Chinese people are raised this way. Spanish people are raised this way. Mm-hmm. There are things that other races look on and see, like, I want that in this person. I want this feature right here. Or I want this amount of loyalty over here with this and stuff. And they're trying to pick and choose and mash up the things that they want. And a lot of those wants and qualities are no longer found in today's generation of black women.
Yeah.
And then like even the younger generation that has that, the generation that raised them are angry, jaded women. Because something didn't go happen. Didn't go happen. I made it worse. Something didn't happen right or didn't go the way they wanted to, and they ended things. And rather than going and dealing with that or really assessing why didn't this work, what can I do to make this better going forward, they just stayed there, and that it turned into a little ulcer of like whatever you want to call it, and then it didn't get healed, which is the basic thing, and they just carry that forward, and they feed that in to the next generation of kids. So they grow up thinking this is how it's supposed to be, or this is what it is, or this is normal, and it's not. Yeah. And then just what Buddy was saying earlier, he spent 40 minutes trying to get this chick to answer a regular question that she just didn't want to answer because the answer to that question painted her and people like her in a light that they did not like. It is what it is. It's like the truth is the truth. Because it's the truth. You don't have to apologize for the truth. You might have to work on your delivery of said truth, but it's still the same thing. Like, my analogy to that, there are a whole bunch of different types of guns. All these different types of guns have different types of bullets, but they still hurt when they shoot you. Same thing. You can get shot with I'm going to go play paintball in a moment. Guess what? That hurts. Like, you mess around and get caught, you run around the wrong corner. It's like it's a marble-sized paintball that explodes. It still hurts. I got bruises on me from 2 weeks ago. Still, and I touch them. Oh yeah, that was from that paintball. And that's just for fun. That's recreationally getting shot.
I've been shot with paint. I've been shot with a paint round, and they hoit. It
is not pleasant.
They hoit.
It just goes worse as things go up, and that's just what it is. That is the analogy that you can take away from this It makes sense because everybody knows that. Not everybody's been in relationships. Not everybody's dated outside their race. Not everybody is or can see or put themselves in a position of a different race. Everybody knows how that works, how guns work. Different sizes, different powers, different. All these little subtle differences, all aimed at completing the same goal. Take it how you want.
You said something I want to touch on. I want to ask a question because you said something that the women that's angry now. Basically, you said it stems from basically the mother or the parents that raised them, and that was a failure. Do you think, because obviously this stuff happened generationally, right? It happened in stages. Like it happened like one generation passes down, to now we're just at a point to where it's just the original reason, like the original reason why something was transpiring or going down a certain path is no longer even relevant.
It's not known. That's lost in the pages of history.
Right.
No one knows why we do this
anymore.
It's just my mom did this, so I do this.
Right. The snowball is just huge now. Now it's just plowing over towns. You know what I'm saying? And so do you think, I'm gonna ask both of you guys this, do you think that there's something, well, what do you think the solution in practical terms could be done to reverse the effect?
Go ahead, Mike. Age before beauty.
I believe that the main thing is to change the concept of how Black American women are being Black American women are being taught to use the system and their mindset to stand more behind Black American men, to be more understanding, to not to be so dependent on other the easy way out of the venues instead of just trying to work together to admit that they're wrong, be accountable for their own actions, and be willing to change the concept about Black American men.
So with that being said,
that's what I believe.
With that being said, just piggybacking off what you said, do you think that the welfare system and child support and all that stuff, do you think that's the easy way out?
Yes, I believe it is. Yeah, it's another door for them to rely on. If they didn't have those affordabilities to say, okay, because it ain't working out with the Black American man, I can go use child support, I can go use food stamps or some kind of tandem to help me get out of the situation, instead of working together with the Black American man and trying to figure out another solution besides that. Yeah, I believe that will fix I believe that will fix it. I believe that that's an easy way. It's a cop out for Black American women. They so used to the system that's what when they don't work out, the first thing they're gonna do is say, I'm gonna take out this on you. I mean, I believe if they got rid of that system and made it even harder for them to rely on the system and try to work out something with the Black American man, then they would change their mind state.
So you think they need to be put into a situation to where they don't have no other choice but to work it out with their man, and you think that's the environment's going to have to change?
That's it. Take away the welfare system. Take away, make it to where like it's a court system where you go to court and y'all able to work out so many, just like they do community service and these other stuff. Make it a way that you both of the people have to work out something to where they can come on a common agreement on stuff instead of relying on the system by itself and it's one-sided.
I agree. I believe.
Yeah, I believe
it is all about. Good. I believe it's all about accountability. Okay, if everyone's talking about equal rights, I can do this, I can do that. That's cool. That's fine. If you take away that safety net and you make it so look, we are both here doing this. If we sitting here making children and it comes up before the time of this child is actually here, like, look, I wasn't trying to do this, you wasn't trying to do this. Things ain't going right for us. If going forward, you still want to do this, then you have to realize either you're going to do this, we're going to do this together, not just because you can force me to do whatever, but we need to come together as two people trying to make the best decision for what's going on now and whatnot. And like, it be that way and stuff. Because I hear about it, you see it all the time. Everybody's got like, or knows a friend or a family member that's like basically like held over the coals due to like government assistance and stuff. And it's like, if things were even against the board, like they talking about, hey, women aren't equal. Like, yeah, we're not equal because y'all get to do whatever the hell y'all want with no consequence and stuff. It's not like that for men. Like, I'll ask you right now, how many dudes do you know have custody of their kids and receive child support?
None.
You can count on your hand how many that is. But everyone knows a woman that is receiving government assistance and child support or whatever type of help, and that help is not really help. It's enabling them and making them stay wherever it is and stuff. And it's a generational thing. And it's like it's gonna spitball into something else. So I'll keep it on this topic. But like, I think like
Miss Sheila said none. She said none.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's just what it is. And it's like, you can ask, like, for every person that you know that's doing that and stuff, there's like 8 or 9, like 9 out of 10 of them that's doing it and are no good at all. I was like, why is it like, if you need all this assistance and all this help, what are you doing? What are you doing for the child? And what is this guy over here who's having to foot the bill for both of y'all mistakes, but only he is being held accountable for and whatnot? And like, how fair is that? And like, what are you doing other than adding to the burden? But I kind of went off topic, but I think it's basically just accountability.
I think it was still on topic, because I think what you're talking about is accountability and responsibility. And in fact, in my opinion, the answer to the question that I ask is that I believe exactly what you guys are saying, but I think the state is incentivized not to.
Yeah,
I think they're
it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool
it's
because
cool not to do that. Like, you remember that you go back a couple years, and like teen pregnancy was like a shunned thing. If you was married, if you was having a kid and you weren't married, he was like, nah, you got to live in the back room of grandma's house 2-3 states away because nobody wants to see you. That's a family shame.
Man, I remember a girl. Cut you out. I don't mean to cut you out, but I remember this girl, Alex. She disappeared for like 9 months.
Exactly.
And came back with a little brother. I was like, I was
like, okay. Like, all right, whatever. But I didn't think your parents was together or married or whatever. But all right, whatever.
Right.
But like, that's how it was. It was like, nah, man. Like, and now it is a glamorized thing. They got TV shows about this that promote and make this type of thing okay. They got like, it's basically thought culture. Like, listen to all the songs that's on. It's glamorizing and popularizing and normalizing the sexualization or the irresponsibility that they're okay with for people to do and live these lifestyles, and then whatever happens after it is whatever. That's all right. You can go get on assistance, or you can go here and get help, or you can do this, or you can do that, or girl, you ain't got to worry about it. We just he's gonna end up paying for it anyway.
Right.
Stuff like that.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing too, because I know that I've seen women that actually ended up being single mothers that would tell their daughters, don't do this. Yeah. Like, I know women that would try to encourage their daughters to wait till they got married before they had a baby. I know women that would tell their daughters, like, you need to find a good man, find a man that will do this. You need a man in your life. You need to be this way towards a man. And the daughters would be like, F you, mom, I'm going my own way. And would end up in a situation that the mother didn't want her to be in. I know those type of women. I know those type of women. I know those type of women that have actually said that. So that's why I said a lot of there are women that what we talked about that girl, you don't need a man. This is they're in the majority, but there are women that are in the minority that be like, don't do this. Don't go down this path. You need this. You need that. But I think
don't make the mistakes that I made.
Do better. And I remember I used to hear older women used to say to younger girls, like I used to hear young women, they be talking crazy to a man. And I used to hear older women say, that's still a man you're talking to. You know what I'm saying? Which means that basically what she's saying is he will knock hell out of you. You keep talking to him crazy.
Yeah, because back in the day, like beating people up or smacking a woman or whatever was a not uncommon thing. Not saying that it's cool and it's okay, but like sometimes little corporal punishment back in the day wasn't just for children.
Right, but the thing about it is, and just going back to the topic that just to answer the question, the thing about it is that I believe that, for one, I think that it's gonna, in order for Black women to be incentivized to stop, I think is exactly what you guys are saying. I think either it's gonna have to be a combination of two things. I had 4 fingers, but it's a combination of two things. One, I think the men, because I still believe it's on men also. I think the men are going to have to wholesale stop being with these women regardless. They're going to have to stop taking it and stop saying, and I think a lot of, like I said, there's this upper echelon of African American, all 3 of us sitting here are those type of guys. They'd be like, nope, we're not doing it. You need to go about your business. But I think also, it's going to have to, because the women can look, they have a choice. They don't actually have to take the government assistance. The bottom line is that it's a way to assert power. It's a way to assert control. And I tell people this because I've had conversations with women talking about, well, me and this man. I say, baby girl, if you want to really know where the power lies in the family dynamic, just look at the family court. That's all you have to do, look at the family court, because the reason why, because there's everything, we're in a capitalistic society. The reason why they incentivize certain things is because they know when a man is not in the home, the daughter is more likely to end up as a single mother. When the father is not in the home, the son is more likely to end up in jail. They know these things. Both are big business for America. Both. You know what I mean? And I think that men are going to have to say, the men are going to have to select better. And me personally, I think it's going to take about 3-4 generations. I don't think it's going to be, I think it took us 2 generations to get into this mess, 2 to 3 generations. I think it's going to have to take twice as long to get us out of it.
Exactly, because so many of it's basically have to flip flop. The majority have to become the minority.
Exactly,
they have to be like, basically, for lack of a better term, bred out of existence.
That's the best. You said for lack of a better term, but I'm in my opinion, I'm like, that's the best term. I think you're gonna have to breed that stuff out. You're gonna have to breed that mentality out of the women, and I think that's why, the women, the African American women in this country that have the mentality of family first, and they're thinking about generational wealth, they are here. They do exist. But there's such a small number of the women.
Yeah,
they're so small. That's exactly. Not only are they a unicorn, they're a Pegasus. You know what I'm saying? Right? There's such a small number that it's so hard. So I think the brothers have started to just say, okay, I have to marry someone that wasn't raised. Said men need to stand as the head and not the tail. Exactly, Miss Sheila. But here's the problem with that, because I 100% agree with you. I think the men have to realize. Here's the thing that I was going to say. I think the men have to realize that they are the community, not the women. I know the government is saying that the community is the Black women and the children and the homosexuals and all that, but that's not true. The men are the actual
they orchestrated it to be controlled that way, because if the men is there, that stuff ain't gonna fly.
Exactly. They separated them personally because they separated them that way because that's how you destroy a people. You kill off the men or imprison or enslave the men, and you assimilate the women and the children. You can use the women as wombs and birth. What you looking like that for, Doja?
I was gonna say that, and like it sounds bad, but most Asian people look the same. because most Asian people have a little bit of Genghis Khan in them, because that's what Genghis Khan did. If you were taller than this and you were a male child, you're like, nah, off with your head. You're gonna send your sister over here, your mom over here, your aunt over here, but all of them gonna come by my tent first, and I'm basically seeding my dynasty.
He did that.
It's gonna be at least 4, 5, 6 generations of little Genghis Khans running around, all doing following my ideals, looking like me.
Right.
That's basically how that works.
And I think that African American men, for one, I call us Yehuda. That's who I believe that we are. And I think that we're going to have to start acting like that. For one, you don't negotiate with your woman. Not like that. You don't do it. You say, we're going right. We're going right. Now, whether you're going to go right with me, that's on you, but we're going right. I know a lot of men, and I used to be that way. You'll sit there and you'll be like, well, baby, we got to go right. Yeah. Baby, please, we got to go right. And guess what? You're ceding your authority, and she's like, we ain't going no goddamn well. But when you say, all right, I tell you what, stay here. I'm going here. Because you're supposed to be where your man is at. And that's why I say to the men, they have to understand that we are the tribe. The men are the tribe. The women are supposed to be our wives. And they're supposed to birth out children to continue on our ideology. What's going on with Western society is not the ideology of Yehuda or the Most High God. It's not us. So in order for us to, I think we're going to have to wholesale reject women with that mentality. It just has to happen. And unfortunately, it's like 95% of them that have that mentality. So I'm not saying that we can stop taking wives. I'm just saying we're going to probably have to import our own. Because the thing about it is, I'm just being honest. I'm just being. Listen.
Mail order.
Listen. Now I ain't talking about mail order.
I got you. I mean by mail. Like
right.
This.
But look,
the boxes that apply.
Right. Yeah. Listen, Avery so retarded. What Keisha won't do, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? what Mary won't do, Miriam would do it. She's the E1B1A. We're the same DNA. We're the same lineage. All us in West Africa and in South America, we're technically from the same male descendant. We are. That's why if you take my haplogroup and you pull me, you will not be able to distinguish between me and my wife. My wife was born in Nigeria. Point blank, period. Right? So I believe that most of us are going to have to, I'm not saying all, most of us is going to have to take that route. Because you have to infuse, listen, there's just certain things when it comes to my wife, and I'm just going to use her as an example, I don't have to say to her. There's just certain things I don't have to have a conversation with her about. I just don't. She already knows, right? She already knows. Now, with that being said, and this is the challenge that I say to men, you can't come in with this whole 50-50 mentality. It is not a partnership. You can't come in saying, well, I need my woman to pay 50% of the bills. No, that's bad. Because I'm not saying that she can't pay a bill. I'm not saying she can't aid in that way. But from my estimation, when you do that, you put you guys on the same playing field. Right? So there should be a clear distinction of who's the head. And whoever's the head has most of the responsibility, period. Like I was talking to somebody about paying bills, right? And they was asking me what bills I pay. I was like, well, I don't need my wife to work, but this is what bills that I allow her to pay. And it's like altogether it's like $200, right? $200-$300. But like before I came to the studio and got on the podcast with you guys, my wife had just called me. She's like, baby, I'm going grocery shopping. Can you send me the grocery money, daycare money, and my gas money? Her gas money. Because I fill her car up every week. I completely fill her tank every week. Whether I take the car to the gas station or completely fill it, or I give her the money to completely fill it. And my wife has a job and she makes money, but I do that. Period. When it's time for her car to get an oil change, I make sure the oil is changed. Now I don't clean the car out, but I get her onto her about it if it's not clean. You know what I mean? But there's just certain things that as a man that you're supposed to understand that are your duty and your responsibility. Period. Your woman needs to be free to be a woman. See, we can't ask our women to be feminine if we keep putting them in masculine situations. We keep putting them in situations that require them to act like a man. We can't keep asking our women to be feminine if we keep doing that. So I never want to put my wife in a situation to where she has to take on any form of masculinity. Period. You know what I'm saying? But I just think because of the upbringing and because of the generational bitterness that has been infused in women. And there's some women that are willing to hear. There's some women that just misguided. And I if I gave a number, I would say about maybe about 30 or 40% of women can be 30%, which is kind of high still. I would say about 30% of them can be retrained. basically I can just but there's a lot of them that they're just, no matter what you say to them, they will not hear you out. And I think that like I tell women that come in the reconstruction project, if you want to learn, I'll teach. If you want to talk, but you got to listen. You got to be willing to listen. And you can't talk about what you think is best for a man and what you think a man. I think that's the biggest insult. Like okay, let me say this because I'm kind of getting off stuff. Let me say this. I think one of the things that really bothers me the most about when I hear this talk about gender, just because you got to be careful about not getting flagged, getting my stuff took down. Gender, you know what I'm talking about. When I hear that stuff, what bothers me the most is when I seen the artist formerly known as Bruce Jenner, say it like that. When I seen that young, whatever it is, win Woman of the Year, I was offended. I was offended. Like, I was offended I'm like, I'm not even a woman, I'm pissed off. Because I'm like, how do you say you feel like a woman? Look, my face got mad when I said that. How do you say that you feel like a woman? I have no idea what it feels like internally to be, because this is what they're saying. I want to fix myself on the outside to look like what I feel like on the inside. How do you fix yourself to feel like something that you have no earthly idea what it feels like? Period. Right? How do you do that? And one of my issues with when I hear, just going back on one of my issues when I hear women tell men, a real man would, when I hear women say that stuff, it offends me because I'm like, you have no earthly idea on what it takes to be a man. So you shouldn't be instructing a man on what he should be. And men shouldn't. When we went to a housewarming party last night, and this guy came down, when I came downstairs, he offered me alcohol. And I said, no, thank you, I don't drink. No, thank you, I don't drink. And I said it to him like 4 times. No, thank you, I don't drink. No, thank you, I don't drink. And so my wife was like, my husband is not going to take a drink. You know, that's what she told him. She's like, my husband's not going to take a drink. My husband doesn't drink. So when my wife walked upstairs, he said, he tried to lean to me and whisper to me, did you really not want to take a drink because something your wife ain't going to let you? This is what he said to me. Like, he leaned in, dozing, like he was making, he said, your wife ain't going to let you take a drink, so that's why. And I looked at him, and before I realized it, I checked him. I said, I run my house. My wife don't instruct me to do nothing. And he was like, I said, mean hell. I'm the authority in my home. My wife don't instruct me to do a dang thing. I was like, my not taking a drink don't have nothing to do with Anu. Has everything to do with Yahuwah. That's my God. So I was like, man, maybe your wife can check you like that. But matter of fact, I was at a dealership, and this guy was getting ready to sell this guy a kiss. Y'all know I used to like the Stingers. I kind of still like the Stingers, but y'all know. My wife was, I told my wife, I said, hey, they got a Stinger up here. I'm going to check it out real quick. So She was like, okay. So I go up there, and this white guy, he was talking to this Pakistani guy about buying a stinger, and the white guy was like, well, man, I gotta go home and check with the little lady first. She runs everything or whatever. So, and the Pakistani guy, he's a Pakistani Indian guy. He's sitting up on his wife and his daughter are sitting on the porch to like the dealership. They have a porch up there, and the Pakistani guy's eyes raised like they got like this big, you know what I'm saying? Like they got huge, and he was like, all right. He was like, oh, okay, my friend, go. You talk to her, go, come back. So when he left, he looked at me, and I looked at him, and he's like, do you have to check with your wife? I said, hell no, I run my house. If I want to buy this car, I buy it. He said, okay, my brother. Yes. He's like, I don't know what's wrong with him. I tell my wife what I'm doing. I don't ask her for permission. But the thing about it is, and I think that, I'm going to say this and I'm going to ask another question. But the thing about it is that I respect my wife as being my helper, my helpmate. But my wife is not my God. She's not my decision maker. Okay. If I come to one and I run a lot of things by my wife before I make a decision because I want to get her opinion about it. Because 2 eyes are better than 1. So I say, well, Anu, what do you think about such and such? And my wife, for the most part, she's not very opinionated. just like y'all talked to my wife before. Like she's rather, she
knows you enough to echo your sentiments.
Right. She'll be like, well, baby, like when I told her about buying the Stingray, I was gonna go put the deposit on the C8. And she says, the only reason why, she said, you're not going to do it. And I was like, why? You don't think I'm going to do it? She says, because tomorrow it'll be you want to buy the Mercedes. Then tomorrow it'll be about the Stinger. She was being funny, but she's like, I think you should. You work hard and you take care of us. I think you should buy the vet. But after that, she's not going to say anything else. But she doesn't now. She will. And this is when you have to, as a man, this is when you have to understand your woman's role. Because there's a difference in your woman trying to control you versus your woman telling you to be cautious about something. And one thing that I tell women is that if you talk so much and try to instruct your man so much, he doesn't actually know when to listen to you. And my wife talks just enough to when she says, well, baby, let's think about this. It immediately gives me pause because she doesn't advise me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, she's saying something. She must see something that I don't see. And it's not 100% because she's saying something and I just stop. It's just I take heed because the fact that she's saying something. But I think a lot of African American women don't get that. They want to be heard so much that they don't understand their talking is adding a damper to a man's ability to hear you because he's trying to decipher, do I take you serious or not? But that's all I wanted to say on that particular matter. But okay, so let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you guys this. How do you guys, because I said something about working. How do you guys feel about a woman working in your home? How do you feel about that?
Well,
beauty before age this time.
I don't mind them doing it, but like the way I'm brought up and my mentality about it and stuff is, if we both work, that's great, but I'm not gonna count on what it is that you bring to the table financially. Like everything that, if you're with me, I have all my own stuff already. Okay, so you are just an addition to and an improvement upon what I already have. Okay, so if we go and we like, if I've been on my own since 19, I've got all my stuff since 19 or whatever. So whatever I got is already set. You're just gonna come in and run or help me facilitate what I already have. If we grow together and we get to move up, i.e. we need a bigger place, bigger cars, more of whatever and stuff, you're going to be added to that mix and you'll have more input to it because it's not already an established thing. But I'm still going to move toward I can do everything independently of whatever you bring to the table. But whatever you bring to the table or whatever will be used in this whole. Okay? So it's like, that's how I looked at it when my dad, when he finally started cooling me on about like financial responsibility and stuff like that. It's like, we're going to the store. And he's like, he looked at me all weird. He showed me, he's like, hey, I bet you think I got a lot of money, don't you? And I was like, yeah, Dad, I think you're rich. You just don't want to
What's going on?
Trying to have some money. And he was like, he showed me his check. And I was like, damn, Daddy, you is rich. And I'm thinking in my head, you could have got me that toy or you could have bought me that candy. And then he's like, flip it over. And he shows all the stuff that's coming out of his check. So like, paying for this, paying for that, paying for this, paying for that. And I was like, yeah. I was like, there ain't much left. And stuff. And it's like, and it was 4 of us kids plus whatever they was doing. And I was like, damn. And he started talking about all this stuff. It's like, you remember that big blue couch we used to have?
Hold on for 1 second, Dojan. Look, this is an open discussion. I put the link in the chat. So if somebody wants to come in and join the panel, you can. Like I said, I just ask that you be respectful and all of that. But go ahead, Dojan. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But I was like, he started talking to me about all this furniture and these appliances and stuff that we used to have that we no longer have anymore because either we moved or we got rid of them or they broke. And he's like, yeah, I'm still paying for that stuff. And I was like, for real? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, so, yeah, this might be what's left over out of my check, but it's already spoken for. He's like, so you need to live in such a way that you are not living above your means. And like, yeah, it'd be great to have someone that's helping you do all this stuff. But if you don't, you still got to do all this stuff. I'm like, that was the takeaway that I took. And going forward, I had that talk. I was probably like 12. I'm like 38 now. And I still remember that. And I was like, and that's been my takeaway or my approach to my financial livelihood. It was like, all right, I'm gonna take care of everything that I can on my own. And I'm not going to live above myself, so I'm not like in debt or spending more than I'm actually getting. And if anyone that comes in or whatever, they're not going to add to my debt. They're going to add to my surplus. And I was like, cool. Now that this is all taken care of, you are the entertainment and upgrade portion of our life. Okay, so like when I going again back to my parents. It was like when dad always had a job. Dad was always working. Stuff was always paid for. Nothing was getting cut off. We weren't eating bad. We never went hungry. We never got cold. We never had to worry about like, damn, is the lights gonna be on? And we don't have no eviction notices or nothing like that. But our lives were more fuller when Mom was working because she was kicking in. It was like, all right, when we was going to the movies and having real vacations and getting new stuff and doing this and doing all this fun stuff or whatever, that was because she was taking that extra burden financially off of him. So our entertainment budget was there. But everything else, we always had what we needed. That was the one guarantee. We didn't. I didn't think of that stuff. That stuff didn't cross my mind until like we moved out of housing and around regular people because I grew up a Navy brat, so most of our stuff was provided for and stuff. Right. And I was like, damn, that really happened. Like everybody was thinking we was rich. I was like, no, we wasn't rich. We didn't have to worry about certain things. So like if you was in trouble or in debt as a military person, you was really jacked up. You was really doing something wrong. And I was like, and that's the mentality that I took going forward. So I all my bills I can pay for out of my first check because I don't live above my means. And like everything else I just put away or I put towards improving what's going on. So I say all that to say this. I'm all for a woman working as long as the stuff that she's supposed to be doing at home is still being taken care of.
Right. What about you, big bro? That makes sense, Ray. Go. I hear you, P. Dojan. Go ahead, big bro.
Yeah, I agree with the assessment that Ray was talking about. I agree totally with that. I believe that's what The man is supposed to take most of the load. They're supposed to be the head of the house. They're supposed to be responsible for everything, the ins and the outs, everything, and that if you that have your own stuff, if you do carry on your wife, that she's just an addition to y'all being successful and adding more to what you already have. To y'all can build something together positive. So I agree with that. That the woman is not supposed to go out and be equal with the husband, because then she feels like she's entitled to control some aspect of the empire. So you don't want to do that. You want to follow with what the Most High says, and that is the man is the head of the house. The woman is the helpmate. She's there to be supportive and to help you along the way. Y'all help each other. So I believe that in some aspect that the woman, as long as she takes care of her duties in the house, cooking, cleaning, not solely just everything, but I'm just saying, as long as she takes care of the focal point and she want to get like a little bit, make a little money to help out, if she, but nothing too strenuous, because she is the one that's going to be taking care of carrying your child. So, or the responsibilities in the house. So in that aspect, I agree with what A-Ray said.
Yeah, I think that you have to be very careful when you start relying upon your woman to be, able to bring just as much income in the house as you can. And I think also it does something with her mind that shouldn't be done. And but here's the other thing about it. I think that a man should already be capable of showing, because if you come from my daughter's hand, I want to know what you got going on. I'm not looking for you to be I'm not looking for you to be wealthy. You ain't got to be driving Ferrari 458 Italianas. You ain't got to be able to put her in a new S-Class. That's not what I'm looking for. But I'm looking for your ability to be able to maintain yourself and her. And also, because for me, I don't want her to end up back in my house with two more people. I don't want her to be talking about, now she Chalitha and Chalithette. She got two more, straggles with her, because you were unable to take care of her, and you were actually walking in your masculinity like you should be. This is one of the reasons why I tell women this. This is something I tell women. Men don't come into the fullness of their manhood until they get into their late 20s to early 30s. That's when something starts to turn on in their head and saying, I need to be about grown man business. So if my daughter was 20, and this used to be the way in this country, and it still is the way in Africa.
Look, it's not so much here because all the big age difference, it's frowned upon.
It's frowned upon.
You cradle robbing and stuff, but that I'm not saying go out and date children, but if you're the head of your household or whatever, you need to be a little bit more seasoned and experienced in life, because it can be done if y'all the same age, but like it's easier if one of y'all knows better and the other person's got that youthful vigor and helping that stuff happen. But if y'all both at the same age in the same steps in life or whatever, y'all both finding and discovering the great mystery that is life together. So you may or may not go the right way. I was like, all right, I bumped my head on that. I see what you're struggling with. This is how you do that. Oh, okay. You get elevated to that status real quick. And then as life goes on, oh yeah, I remember I did that when I was in my 20s. You're in your 20s now. Yeah, this is what I did. This will probably work best for you. You getting all these cheat codes to life without all the struggle and all the like trial and error that this person went through.
And I think also too is because how does the Most High value our value? How does he grade our value? A man's value is in his age, his experience, and his ability to acquire resources. A woman's value is her youth and her beauty and her ability to produce children. The older that a woman gets, biological clock starts to tick. You know what I mean? And the younger that a man is, the less likely he's able to sustain. And so you're always trying to find that perfect balance, because like I said, if my daughter, let's just say her name is Ayo. If Ayo come home and she's like, Daddy, I want you to meet Marcus. And she's 22 and Marcus is 21. I'm like, I'm automatically just like, this young man gonna have to put in a waiver. Like for me, like I'm automatically gonna be like, nah, sweetie. No. And I'm pretty much going to be eyeballing him about the situation, because you're not to a point to where you can sustain, you can maintain yourself. And I'm gonna be looking at like, what have you done? What situations have you been in to where you had to successfully navigate, and it's refined you in your journey. So what happens when that woman starts to freak out? Because women do this. This is what women do. Like this is a no. They will freak out on you. They be like, you be like, what is it? The bills. What about the bills? It's $200 higher. Okay, well, pay it.
You're like, yeah, okay. Well, that's the situation and move on.
Right. Like, okay, but she freaking out and you freaking out. Like, you can't do that. You can't be that way. Like, I don't remember telling my wife this. I'm like, you're afforded like to be able, because she had did something with something on her account. And I was just like, you're afforded to be able to like not get it right all the time. Like, I was like you can actually get it right like half the time and you be fine, but I can't get it right. I can't make an error. Like, I have to be correct like 90% of the time. Like that, the margin for error for men should be small, because I'm like, if you go out and misspend some of your money, you can come to me and be like, baby, okay, let me tell you the story. I'm like, you bought something, you overdrafted your account, and you need some money to bring your account back to stuff. Yeah. I'm like, like, okay. And and for the most part, I'm looking at it with the mean face, like, sick of my goddamn juice. You know what I'm saying? But ain't nothing getting cut off, And I just think for me, men are supposed to be in that position to where, they're not reliant upon their woman. You're supposed to be able to be the foundation. And this is why I think it's very important that men, if there's something that has happened and there's been a breakdown in the family and there's been a divorce, this is why men should be raising the sons. This is why, because boys need to learn how to adequately make decisions. They need to make choices. And a father, you was raised with your father, Alex. I was raised with my father. We know a father will let you smack that noggin wide open and be like, I told you not to do it. You be sitting there to my, yeah, hurt, don't it? Like, a father will let you smack your head so that you can learn the most valuable lesson that you need to learn. Because you have to have the ability as a man to be able to make decisions. You have to be able to properly make decisions, because you're going to be leading a family. Go ahead, Doja.
And not only that, you got to be able to make mistakes and move on.
Yes.
Because if all it takes is just one mistake to throw you off and you never get back right,
you're done.
You got to fail a little bit so you can get back up and do better or go a different route. You can't be made out of stone.
And I think that one of the things that I used to hear my ex-wife say, he used to say, the boys always come to you about everything. And then I started to, like, when we got a divorce, and we've been divorced for like 5 years, but when we got the divorce and I was looking at, like, especially when my oldest started to get older, he just started articulating why that was. He just started flat out saying, like, because Dad, when I come to you, you solve it. You don't freak out. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can bring something to me. I'd be like, well, give me about an hour, so let me think about it. And I would come back and have a conversation with him about it. And I was just like, I was like, that's how you have to be as men and husbands and fathers, because you have to be the foundation. People got to see that, your family has to see that I can bank on my dad. I can bank on my husband. And I just don't think that, you having to rely upon a woman sends that signal. You know, it doesn't necessarily send that signal like I can be replied upon. Like, you know, I need help. That's the signal that sends. Like, I won't survive without a leg up. But anyway, we've been at this thing for about an hour and 40 minutes. I think I'm getting ready to bring this thing to a close. Alex left out again. You done did something else. Lord Jesus.
Yeah.
He'll be back in a minute. He'll be back in a minute. There you go.
I fat fingered it again. My bad.
Network
I was trying to scroll through the comments and said,
yeah, I figured he had did something. I was like, yeah.
Uh-oh. But this was a good thing, man. I think we should do this at least once or twice a month. More panels.
Yeah,
it's see and talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted more people to come in, but I definitely understand if they didn't. But yeah,
but you know what? I believe next time, bro, there's gonna be more people coming in.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to hold these panels at least like maybe, like I said, like Alex said, maybe 2 or 3 times out the month, because I think they're and I'm a poster and schedule them. So
yeah, I was just going to say that. Hit on that, say what we talking about, so everybody can come with their notes and stuff.
Right, because I think it would be, to me, it would be interesting to hear a woman's side of the story.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to look to see what Miss Sheila was saying, but I kept closing out.
Miss Sheila is I've been knowing Miss Sheila for a while. She's a really good woman, and so a lot of the things that we're saying is she more than likely gonna she feels the same way. She's an older. She's not old, but she's an older woman, and so she's from
the OK generation.
She's from the OK generation, right? Not the generation that blue. Need the white vision, the generation.
Oh man, much too loud. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know, man. I think, and the sad thing about this is, the sad thing about this whole situation is that I think that in the end, the women are going to be the one that lose.
Yeah.
They're going to be the one that lose. Because I don't think they understand, like, every major civilization, every major world power that fell because the women got out of pocket, and they allowed the women to get out of pocket. Period. Like, they start allowing the effeminization of the men and let the women just run rampant. So I get that they want to be Joan of Arc. You know what I'm saying? And all of this.
Not everybody's Joan of Arc.
But not everybody's Joan of Arc, man. Like, women are not supposed to be put in the positions to where they have to heading up households and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, our women are basically suffering the blunt of this, and I think that's something that they don't understand. They're the ones that's suffering, because the men can easily say, you know what, I ain't got time, I'm out, I'm out, and easily become more desirable. You know what I'm saying? It's not hard for a man to gain a new wife. That's the people just. The 7-to-1. I'm just that's the ratio. It's 7-to-1, and that's just gender, male versus female.
Yeah, wow.
We're not even talking about the ones that have no interest in being married or the ones that are booty bandits.
Yeah.
You know,
I think the ratio in Atlanta is like 12-to-1.
Yeah, it's crazy in Atlanta.
Okay, you beat them off with a stick. Like, get away. I said no.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Absolutely. But we were supposed to have a panel like this last week, and we were supposed to discuss Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But my internet, I had to call Charter. These punks gonna send me a bill. $95. I was like, yo, you kidding me?
You better send it back. Like, you owe me money.
I was like, man, are you absolutely kidding me?
Josh, you should have told him Decepticon punk.
How you say they rate Decepticon punk?
Decepticon punk. But let me get out of here, y'all. My phone is beeping at me. It's gonna die.
Yeah, we
Probably hot.
finna get
I'm
off,
probably
man.
gonna get cancer if I put my face to it.
I appreciate you guys joining
All
the
right,
stream,
Ray.
man. I'm gonna chop this one up in segments. But I appreciate you guys joining and adding the commentary, man. It's much needed dialogue. And I thank everybody who
Hey,
came
Ray,
by and stopped in.
send me your culinary, your food in the mail.
Big brother, you don't want to die tonight.
Oh,
Don't have that.
man.
Yeah,
You gonna die happy if you do. You gonna die like this.
Oh,
You're gonna be
Ray.
you have a big old smile.
Don't be talking about.
Oh no.
Yeah. Put your stretchy pants on, mess with me.
I appreciate it, man.
All right, y'all. Enjoy.
All right, y'all be blessed. All right, man.
All right, you too. All right, Ray.